Welcome to Parenthood Unplugged. We really hope you enjoyed the Raise Children After Divorce podcast.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
You've tuned in to Parenthood Unplugged, and today we're really diving deep. We're going into the emotional and also the practical realities of becoming a parent.
It doesn't matter how you get there, right? Whether it's pregnancy, adoption, or fostering, it's all part of this journey.
Exactly. And our main source material today comes from Daniel McMahon. He's the author of Parenthood Unplugged.
We got some great excerpts from his about the author, the acknowledgement section, the book description itself.
And Chapter 1, Episode 1, which is titled The Emotional Landscape of Parenthood. Lots to unpack there.
Definitely. So our mission, really, for this deep dive.
We want to get into the unfiltered truth, the real emotional roller coaster of parenthood.
Offering relatable insights, maybe some practical support, too.
Yeah, by looking at that first big wave of emotion, how to handle those mood swings that kind of sneak up on you.
Understanding the impact on mental health, which is huge.
Absolutely, and the role of support systems, can't forget that.
And finally, maybe some strategies for building up that emotional resilience, finding the joy in the everyday stuff.
So let's start with that initial emotional landscape. McMahon doesn't just say joy, does he?
No, he calls it a beautiful storm of emotions. I love that phrasing.
Me too. It suggests it's not simple, right? There's joy, sure,
Yeah.
but maybe also looking back, reflecting on choices.
Exactly. A kind of reckoning almost that happens when your life shifts so profoundly.
And he compares the feelings, the ebb and flow, to spring weather. That really resonated.
It's so true, those unpredictable surprises.
You get these moments of pure warmth, like feeling your baby's tiny fingers wrap around yours.
Wow.
Such a powerful, universal image melts your heart.
But then the clouds roll in, don't they? The exhaustion hits.
The exhaustion from sleepless nights, feeling completely overwhelmed.
Yeah, that feeling of being just consumed by it all. It really captures how things can change moment to moment.
Which leads right into that emotional roller coaster idea he talks about.
Yeah.
It's not just little bumps. The swings can be intense.
He really emphasizes that. Like, 1 minute you're laughing at the baby's funny face.
That little scrunched up nose, adorable.
Right. And the next, you might be, actually crying because you spilled some milk.
Oh, I've been there. It feels so disproportionate, but it's real.
And it can feel really jarring if you're not expecting that velocity of change.
And he points to the reasons, right?
Yeah.
Hormones, obviously, but also
Sleep deprivation. It's a massive factor. Can't overstate that one.
it really messes with your ability to regulate things, doesn't it?
Mm.
Your baseline just feels gone sometimes.
Totally. But then he balances it. He talks about those moments that make it all worthwhile.
Like that first real smile, the one that lights up their whole face.
Yes. Or that little giggle that just cuts right through the tiredness.
Those are the anchors, aren't they?
Yeah,
They remind you why you're doing it.
definitely. And McMahon even mentions supporting a co-parent, his ex-wife, through those highs and lows too. It's a shared experience.
That's a really important point.
Yeah.
Now, thinking bigger picture, the impact on mental health.
Yeah, this is critical. He goes beyond just the baby blues.
He talks about something he calls postnatal despair.
Which sounds and is more persistent. A kind of sadness that can really dim your enjoyment of life.
And the key is recognizing it, right? And not being afraid to seek help.
Absolutely. He stresses that it's not weakness, it's crucial self-care.
Because some anxiety is normal, isn't it? Worrying if you're doing things right for your child.
Of course, that's natural. But when it becomes overwhelming, consuming.
That's when you need to reach out.
Exactly. And interestingly, he also points out a positive flip side.
Oh, what's that?
That going through all this, the intensity, it can actually deepen your empathy, make you more emotionally sensitive.
So navigating the storm actually strengthens you in a way, builds resilience.
That's the idea. It seems counterintuitive, but it often works out that way. You become more attuned.
Which connects to the biology of it all, hormones and stress.
Right. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is definitely firing during this time.
Makes sense. It amps up reactions.
And he has another great analogy for hormonal shifts during pregnancy.
Oh, yeah.
He compares them to the stock market. Volatile, unpredictable swings.
Huh. That's perfect. It really captures that feeling of not knowing what emotional state is coming next.
And the main point is that it's normal. These are physiological changes happening.
So important to hear that. It's not a personal failing if you feel all over the place.
Not at all. And then he offers practical ways to manage it.
Like mindfulness, breathing exercise.
Exactly. Simple, accessible tools. Focused breathing, meditation, things that can ground you when the waves feel high.
Grounding is such a good word for it. Finding that center again.
And another huge piece of the puzzle is your support system.
Ah, yes. He really emphasizes this, doesn't he?
Immensely. He talks about a partner being like an anchor during the lows, offering comfort, understanding, just being there.
That's invaluable. But it's not just partners.
No, he highlights friends too. They bring different perspectives, that sense of camaraderie.
And sometimes just laughter, right? Which can be the best medicine.
Absolutely. A shared joke can lift so much weight.
And I liked how direct he was about professional help.
Framing it as courage, not defeat.
Yes, recognizing when you need more support and actually going out and getting it, that takes strength.
It really does. And he encourages you, the listener, to think about your own network. Who are those people for you?
Good prompt. Who can you actually call when things feel tough?
So if parenthood is this maze with unexpected turns,
Which it definitely feels like sometimes.
then building emotional resilience is like getting your map and compass ready.
Okay, I like that. So what are the tools? You mentioned breathing.
Deep breathing, yeah. Simple inhale, exhale.
Yeah.
Sounds basic, but it works in the moment to calm the nervous system.
And journaling, is that something he suggests?
He does, as an outlet, a way to get the feelings out of your head and onto paper.
Which can give you perspective, I find. Seeing it written down.
Exactly. Reflection. And he also mentions routine.
Establishing some kind of daily rhythm.
Yeah, for stability. In a time that feels anything but stable sometimes, a little predictability can go a long way.
Makes sense. Something to hold on to.
And then there's the mindset piece, cultivating a positive outlook.
But not in a fake way, right? Not just pretending everything's fine.
No, he talks about cognitive reframing, consciously shifting your perspective.
Like his example of sleepless nights.
Yeah, reframing them not just as exhaustion, but as extra time for quiet cuddles.
That's a powerful shift. It changes the feeling associated with it.
It really can. And building on that, practicing gratitude.
Actively noticing the good things, however small.
Precisely. And even using visualization, imagining positive outcomes, feeling that positive emotion.
Interesting. So consciously steering your thoughts,
Alongside this is the idea of a growth mindset.
which feels so relevant to parenting. You're constantly learning.
Totally. Viewing challenges not as roadblocks, but as chances to learn and grow yourself.
Kind of like watching your baby learn and grow, right? You're both on a journey.
Exactly. He draws that parallel, celebrating their milestones, first steps, first words.
But also maybe celebrating your own milestones, like handling a meltdown calmly,
Yes. Recognizing your own growth as a parent. It's a shared path.
which brings us to that constant juggling act.
Balancing your own needs with the demands of parenting.
His analogy here is intense, juggling flaming torches.
Huh. It feels like that sometimes, doesn't it? Trying to keep everything aloft without getting burned.
Definitely. So the key is acknowledging you have needs too.
Absolutely crucial. You can't pour from an empty cup, as they say.
So making time for yourself, me time, isn't selfish.
Not at all. It's necessary. Even short bursts, whatever you can manage.
And talking about it, right? Communicating with your partner.
Openly and honestly. I need a break. I need some help with this.
It's okay to ask. More than okay, it's vital.
It really is. It helps maintain everyone's well-being.
And this ties back to that resilient mindset again.
Yeah, seeing mistakes not as failures, but just learning opportunities. Data collection for next time.
I like that. Less judgment, more curiosity.
And celebrating the small wins. Soothing the baby, getting through a tough feeding, navigating a tantrum without losing it yourself.
Those little victories add up.
They really do. And McMahon puts a lot of focus on finding joy, even when things feel chaotic.
Which can be hard, but so important.
Yeah.
How does he suggest doing that?
By consciously savoring the everyday moments, intentionally noticing them.
Like the baby's first coo. Or just laughter during playtime.
Exactly, those fleeting moments that are easy to miss if you're rushing.
He mentions mindfulness practices here too, right?
Yeah, as a way to be present for those moments, like taking a mindful walk with the baby.
What does that involve?
Really engaging your senses, noticing the breeze, the sounds, the sights, how the baby feels in your arms or the stroller, just being fully there.
That sounds lovely. Grounding again?
And sensory play with the child, getting down on their level, exploring textures, sounds, connecting in the present.
That connects you both, doesn't it?
Absolutely. He also talks about family rituals.
As anchors. Things that provide stability and happiness.
Could be anything. Weekly game night as they get older, maybe just morning snuggles when they're tiny.
Things that create that sense of belonging, continuity.
Exactly. Little traditions that build memories and connection.
And celebrating milestones, we touched on this, but it's worth revisiting.
Big ones like first steps are obvious symbols of growth.
But also the small ones, like a tantrum-free trip to the store.
Yes, acknowledging those wins. Because each milestone reflects growth for the child and for you as the parent navigating it.
I think one of the most maybe profound points he makes is about pausing.
Just slowing down.
Yeah, life moves so fast, especially with kids. He encourages them intentionally embracing slowness sometimes
Stepping off the hamster wheel for a moment.
and just observing, watching your child discover something new, noticing your own feelings,
And what comes from that pause?
clarity often, and gratitude, seeing things you miss in the rush.
That makes a lot of sense. You need those moments to recharge and reconnect. So, wrapping up his thoughts on finding joy.
It sounds like it's about intention, remembering to laugh, loving deeply,
Holding on to those good moments, however fleeting they feel.
appreciating the simple stuff, elevating the experience through mindfulness.
And teaching your children that habit too, right? Finding joy in simple gifts.
Well, that's lovely. Passing it on.
Ultimately, it's about finding your strength, finding happiness in the everyday wonders, the messy reality of it all.
And fostering that environment of love and resilience for everyone.
Beautifully put.
So this deep dive into Daniel McMahon's Parenthood Unplugged, it really does highlight that authentic, sometimes messy emotional journey.
Yeah, we've covered a lot. That initial emotional storm, the importance of navigating the highs and the lows.
Not just trying to avoid the lows, but acknowledging them.
Right. And those practical strategies for building resilience and actively looking for and creating joy.
And Daniel McMahon's perspective feels so real, so honest.
It definitely comes through. And knowing his background, which he shares in the book, being a single dad, co-parenting foster kids with his ex-wife.
It adds another layer, doesn't it? That lived experience of providing stability and love in complex situations.
It really grounds his insights. You feel he's walked the walk.
So if you, listening, are looking for a companion on your own parenting journey, something heartfelt, honest, insightful,
We definitely recommend checking out Parenthood Unplugged by Daniel McMahon.
you can find it on Spotify and also on Amazon Books. It's readily available.
And just remember, as you're navigating this wild, beautiful, unpredictable adventure,
You are absolutely not alone. It might feel that way sometimes in the middle of the night, but you're not.
embrace the moments, the big ones, the small ones, the messy ones.
And please, be kind to yourself. Give yourself grace. You're doing great.